Most of Texas is on its own energy grid, run by the organization called the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT. And it is disconnected from the two main power grids in the rest of the country, the Eastern and Western interconnects. And it is the most deregulated energy market in the country. All sorts of interesting idiosyncrasies to how it operates. Its power infrastructure is simply not designed to withstand days of freezing temperatures, which are expected to continue until the weekend. ERCOT officials said today they expect the blackouts in Texas to last at least until tomorrow. The crisis is the product of both extreme weather, a kind of black swan event, and also real governing failure. And the person at the head of the Texas government took the time to go on Fox News last night to push the big lie that Republicans and right-wing media have been pushing for days. A brazen, jaw-dropping lie that the hippie libs and their clean energy are to blame for the devastation in Texas.
The Green New Deal would be a deadly deal for the United States of America. Texas is blessed with multiple sources of energy, such as natural gas and oil and nuclear, as well as solar and wind. But you saw from what Trace said, and that is our wind and our solar got shut down, and they were collectively more than 10% of our power grid. And that thrust Texas into a situation where it was lacking power in a statewide basis. If the Biden administration is going to try to eradicate fossil fuels in the United States, every state is going to constantly have challenges like what America has seen take place in Texas right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wake Up Report. And as Texas, which is the news of the moment right now, slowly starts to thaw out and recover from that massive ice and snowstorm that engulfed it a couple of days ago, I had no idea that Texas, of all places, would ever get snow and ice and freezing cold temperatures like it's currently getting right now, man. And I mean, just to show you, I had no idea that Arkansas bordered Texas. You can practically walk across, like Canada and Seattle, I think. You can practically walk across the street. You're in Arkansas. But to contrast how unprepared Texas was for something like this, if you see the video right there, literally you're looking at one side, on Arkansas is on the left, and you can see how they are plowed out and got the streets plowed, and you can move around somewhat. They got snowed in, but it looks like they took care of business. Texas, on the other hand, totally unprepared and absolutely swamped with snow, ice, and freezing temperatures. And I wasn't going to say this, but it was the first thing to come to my mind, after I looked at all this stuff, because I know it's mean, but, hey, it's the first thing that I thought of. And hey, that's how we are on the Wake Up Report. Say what you feel, going to tell the truth, and you can attack me for it after the fact. But when I saw all this happen in Texas, man, the first thing come to mind was you rednecks, you hillbillies, you racists, you bigots, you xenophobes. You deserve exactly what you get. I hope you freeze under all that ice and snow and they find you like 50,000 years later, buried, encased in ice, like the cavemen and the mastodons and stuff like that. It is your idiotic politicians that have constantly steered you down a road of racism, bigotry, separation. Your governor and people like your governor have sold you on fossil fuels instead of renewable sources of energy, instead of bringing the state into the future like Obama told you way back. It's time to look at other sources of energy. Fossil fuels are a thing of the past, but you sell your people on gasoline and oil. Nothing wrong with gasoline and oil, but you can't continue to survive off of things like that. It'd be like having a coal furnace down in your basement. Republicans, rednecks, bigots, xenophobes, and they're all interchanged, they're all synonymous now. So, you don't even have to say racist anymore. Just say Republican. That's what you're talking about. They wholesale reject AOC, Cortez's Green New Deal. 10 years is totally unrealistic. But what she is saying is that, it's time to start looking at other alternatives that in the long run will have you paying less for energy, will benefit you more, but you fall in lockstep with those Republicans, and you allow yourselves to just wallow in your own ignorance. And now the Democratic president that your state worked overtime to keep from being elected, that your governor worked overtime doing things like voter suppression, shutting down ballot boxes, any and everything to keep Joe Biden from being elected. Now that president, who has promised to be a president for all Americans, whether you voted for him or not, whether you like him or not, now his administration has to get FEMA together to get ready to send them into Texas to help people who are working so hard against him. Oh, the irony. But your governor even gets on Fox News to blame Cortez's Green New Deal when they don't even have a Green New Deal in Texas. Everything is run off of fossil fuels, gas and oil. But he's already blaming wind and solar. Oh, that's the problem. That's why the grid shut down. When Texas operates on its own grid, independent of everybody else. So the screw up came from within. And instead of being humble enough to admit that you're wrong, or humble enough that you made a mistake, or humble enough to say that you need help, you go to the Republican playbook and you just blame everybody else when you screw up. But I will say, because obviously it's not everybody in Texas. So to all my black brothers and sisters that live in Texas, to all my Mexican brothers and sisters that live in Texas, even to my progressive white brothers and sisters that live in Texas, I'm not talking about you. Everybody is going to get help, whether they deserve it or not. But it's a lot of you that just don't deserve it. You racists, you bigots, you xenophobes, you hillbillies. You deserve exactly what you're getting. Shortly after the thaw out, if you get hit with a plague of locusts, if it start raining frogs, and if the rivers start turning red, running red with blood, you deserve exactly what you have coming to you. Where is Donald Trump, by the way? Where is the man that you worked overtime, tried to suppress votes to get reelected? Not one statement. Hey, Texas, hang in there, Texas. Hey, Texas, you looked out for me. I'll do what I can to look out for you. Hey, Texas, I'm going to start a fundraiser, raise some money to get to the people who supported Donald Trump. Never mind the people who did support Trump. Forget them. I'm going to raise money to support you guys. I'll be there with you. Where is he? You ain't heard nothing from him because he doesn't care about you. He never did. He used you for what he could get from you, and he's gone on about his business. He's denying you, Texas, just like he denied climate change, just like he denied all the snow and the ice and the freezing cold temperatures that are currently kicking you up your behind. But that's what a good grifter does. When the con is over, they move on, start another con somewhere else. So, hey, Texas, like Rush Limbaugh, you live in your ignorance and you die in your ignorance. Or in your case, you freeze in your ignorance. But that is not the news. What is the news is Texas, while you're freezing your behinds off, while you got icicles coming out of chandeliers, while you got pipes bursting all over the place, while you have to try to heat your homes using the car exhaust from your cars, which sends the carbon monoxide poisoning statistics through the roof, while Texas is effectively getting its Tex ass kicked. Lion Ted Cruz, or I should say lion and flying Ted Cruz, gave a big middle finger to his home state of Texas, hopped on an airplane with his family and took off to Cancun, Mexico. And that, Texas, is why I say you deserve exactly what you get, because it's people like this that you continually send to Washington on your behalf. And all Ted Cruz is a reflection of the people who sent him. Instead of boots on the ground in Texas, instead of clothing drives, heating centers, instead of being in Washington, not even being in Texas, being in Washington, working on behalf of the people who sent him to Washington to make sure they get help and aid and food and clothes and all the things that they need right now. He plants his ass on an airplane with his family, says basically, fuck you, Texas. I'm going where it's warm, but I'll send you a tweet. Hang in there. I'm with you. And then when he gets caught, he comes up with some lame excuse This is the lying Ted Cruz part about, oh, well, I just went with my family to make sure they got to Mexico okay, and I was going to come right back. However, that statement doesn't match up with the statement that his wife made through some uncovered text messages in which she was telling her friends, look, we're going to Cancun, Mexico. You guys need to come with us. You know, pack your stuff up, lock your houses up, and go where it's warm. Don't worry, the taxpayers are paying for it. Now, this is my prediction. You watch Ted Cruz over the course of the next maybe 6 months or so, something like that. What he's going to do is he's going to try to spin this on Democrats. He's going to try to use trigger words and catchwords that you racists love to hear. Things like socialism, radical left agenda that wants to turn this country into a socialist country. Anything to divert from what he attempted to do. And it's probably going to work. In a previous show, I believe it was when Donald Trump got acquitted for the first time, where I told you that there is a group, a sect of white people that don't give a shit about you white people out there. They use you. They use your racism. They use your xenophobia. They use your fear of other people. They use all of that to get rich off of you, to live like kings off of you, to fly to Cancun, Mexico, while you at home suffering and freezing. But if 6 months from now, or when his job is on the line, Ted Cruz starts saying things like build the wall, down with socialism, America's not going to be a socialist country, the radical left agenda, keep me in and I'll keep the radical left agenda out of Texas, you're going to be stupid enough to put him right back in office. And he knows it. Your governor is a disaster. Your state representative is a disaster. The man you helped elect to the office of president was a disaster. And I guess Texas apparently just has a thing for disasters, natural or otherwise. This is KTM and the Wake Up Report saying think a little bit. It will do wonders for you.